FinceTech 24 was just a few weeks ago, so I wanted to get your highlights of the event.
There were so many highlights, it would be impossible to name them all. And if I started to, then I would inevitably miss something huge or miss somebody huge. But in terms of the event itself, I think that there is so much talk about this Fence family, or our Fence family, and how close we are as a community. And I think that's what really resonated. Is even though we brought a ton of people and a ton of new people to the event, they got a really good taste of what being part of that Fence family actually was. So Nashville was it was a great location. And then we brought those people in and exposed them to an outstanding trade show activity where they were able to meet potential new partners and connect with people who did the same thing they do, attend great education, and just have a lot of fun doing it. The volunteers and the staff who are responsible for the FinceTech event just knocked it out of the park.
Tell me what's on the horizon for the AFA.
So I think part of it is that we leverage that success that we started to build. And so FinceTech was a great experience, but I would say that over the last 2 years, what we've been doing is kind of building up, and it's just a natural part of the direction that we've been going. So we spent a lot of time focused on the grassroots membership experience through chapters. We spend a lot of time talking about how do we engage members in leadership development. And I think the most important thing to note about AFA on the horizon is kind of 2 points. One of the things is we're looking to find ways to partner with our members. And so when we look at partnering with the folks on the contractor or the installer side, what we're really trying to focus on is how do we help them recruit more talent, retain that talent, and train that talent, and make the fence industry a career. So that's where our emphasis is on the installation side of the business. On the supplier side of the business, what we're really trying to do is be a partner in your marketing efforts. And so on the supplier side, it's about how do you create closer connections with that installer base? How do you position your products in a better way that can expose it to more people who might be interested in buying it? With the idea being, and we use this cliche all the time, this high tides float all boats. Well, when I think about how do we impact the industry and how do we grow the industry, it's about that high tide and how do we create a better atmosphere for people to grow together. And that's what I think is on the horizon. We talk about what's on the horizon for AFA. It's how do we create better partners with our members and foster that connection between the installer side of our business and the supplier side of the business.
In our March issue, you were our top of the chain. And one of the things you touched on was that you have a passion for helping business succeed and for leading change. So I wondered if you could expand a little bit on what tips do you have for companies to create that change and to lead their business forward?
Well, I love what you talked about in terms of positioning that statement and the idea of leading your business forward. So one of the aspects when I talk about leadership to the industry, one of the things we talk about is the difference between management and leadership. You can't have one without the other in terms of driving an organization forward, but this idea of leading change or inspiring a new vision for an organization, that's really a component of leadership. And so when we talk about leading change, what we are talking about is inspiring people to a new vision and then giving those folks the tools they need to be successful. And so from a leadership standpoint, we're talking about the first step of that is identifying what the change is, and then creating a vision around that change, and then bringing more people on. And if you're in an organization, sometimes that's a small movement if the change is relatively small or a moderately sized change. But if sometimes you're talking about a larger change initiative, like in our case, where we're talking about gate safety, we're talking about an entire movement. And so AFA, in addition to the other associations in the industry, are working together to create a vision for gate safety that includes not only the automated gate side, but also the manual gate side. And you raise awareness, and then you gauge others and get them involved. And that's why it's great. There's room enough for everybody to have a gate safety initiative, or to have a unique message to their constituents. And that's great, because what AFA has done, hopefully, in partnership with others, is to create that new vision of, so let's say our vision is 0 deaths associated with gates. That is an inspiring vision. And then how do we bring other people on so that every gate that ever gets installed is done safely? And that's where we're working now, is to expose more people to that concept, to give them tools to be effective in with their audiences, and just continue to drive this message. And so, using gate safety as one example, I was standing in front of a group of people last week, and I asked if they were aware of gate safety, and I was surprised on how few people actually were. But it opened up the opportunity to share that vision, to tell them about various tools, checklists, and videos that have been produced to share the story, and then to be amazed about how many people came up after and just said, "And I want to make a difference. I want to do something with my customers." It was great. So these large-scale change efforts start with just a few people, kind of setting a new course towards a new vision, and that's, whether it's changing how we work with our chapters as a new vision, or changing how we deal with gate safety as an industry, or providing greater value and partnerships to our members. All of those are kind of visions of a new way AFA is working with the industry.
Thank you so much for your insight. Thanks for taking time to be with us today.
Well, I certainly appreciate it, and thank you very much for your partnership to AFA. It means a lot, and thank you very much.